got some nice decorations. We'll be going too quickly to notice it. It's a nice galloping table to get my confidence up. It's wide enough that I have to come off the ropes a little and get the horses square to it just to make sure to jump it easily across the spread. And I'm going to pick the second bush in from the left. Four is another inviting table which will get us ready for the water with the next. A big drop in, not a super tall rail, but tall enough so after that big wall I'm going to start working on bouncing my beach ball so that I have enough lift that they don't rub any legs and when they see the drop in the water on the other side. And I'm going to jump the center of this first one and jump the wing of the duck. And it's going to be in a nice four, I think. But anything can happen, so it's line over distance. This is a nice fence because it's a galloping fence. It's quite wide, so you'll have to take it at speed, and I quite like it. Here we have a ditching wall. It's got a nice bit of hedge on the top, so you can take it at a bit of pace. We are keeping an eye out for me on the other side, which is 5 strides away. It's quite narrow, and it's on a little bit of a slope. So I will take this with enough pace to cross the ditch, but still have enough control to be accurate over the skinny afterwards. I want power, but I want it to rise up over the rail. Then I think it's going to be a 5 to a very wide skinny over there. Again, it's line over distance, and they do need enough power when they get to B. So those last 2 strides have got to be pushing, otherwise they might tip up on the back side of it. This is where it all came to a sad end for me last year with the first romance. We had to do a bank down to double corners. They've changed it a little bit this year. So a nice big brush jump in. 5 to a very big oxer, and then a little bit bending down the hill to a right-handed corner. This is a very, very busy area. A lot of spectators. It's very distracting. That plus the shade and the light, I think, plays a big factor. I'm glad they changed it this year. Because the B for the intermediate is on the other side. You have to steer the horses away from the B for the intermediate, turn right and do 2 left-handed corners 2 strides apart. So I think it's a 6 and then a 2 stride between the double corners.
Scores in for Charlie Plum and Argental are now confirmed from the judge at C, 61.11, the judge at E, 60.74, and Charlie and Argental, 58.6. Sinead Halpin and Manuel de Carnaval.
My best fan of white here. You can jump the right, or you can jump the left. I'm going to jump this side because it's turning already, and I don't think it really makes a difference in terms of the ditch. This one has a bit of a bigger lip to make the ditch look a little deeper. That one has a bit of a lower lip to make the ditch look a little less. I think we've already done enough ditches to not worry. Alright, here we have the hammock. It's no time to take a nap. I'm going to jump the slight dip so the horse can see there's a back to it instead of the rise, just in case it has a little accident here. I know it looks like a straight corner fence, but it is in the shade and it is halfway through the course, so we do have to be careful. As you can see, we have the coffin. Apparently we're not allowed to call them coffins anymore, so it's rail, ditch, brush. And big enough to jump in over the railing and to make sure, again, I get my coffin counter, I bounce my beach ball so that I have lots of spring. Jump in, press for the 1, make sure they jump across the ditch as smoothly as possible, and it's straight on 2 for that angled left brush. I'm going to head for the 3rd stump in on the ground line. Here we have a chicaner, a lovely galloping fence, nice and easy before the tough water. Here we have the last water combination on the course. It's quite a big log drop in after a little bit of a hill. I'm going to stay to the right, coming down the hill so I can get to the middle or left of this. I need to give the horse as much freedom in its neck as possible so it doesn't rub its stifles or its back end on this drop. And then I have to swing a little bit left and hug that decoration there with the sheep on it and jump slightly left to right over that angled cabin, which is a very steep angle and wide enough that it could cause a problem. It's no time for a picnic. This is a great big table to get them galloping, but by this jump it big enough that they have an easy jump, but I have to have control because I do a left-handed turn to a right-handed corner at the bottom. Here we have the corner I was just talking about at the bottom of the hill. For an open corner, it's actually quite inviting. Open corners not being my favorite. And the option would be to jump that triple hedge if you had a terrible jump over the ox, or maybe if you had to run out here. But then you have to loop around to the left and jump another corner very similar to this, maybe slightly lower. So I feel like even if you had a problem here, it might be in your best interest to represent to this, because this counts for B and C. And you're going to have to do a right-handed corner that is very like this anyway, and it's going to take more time. Alright, this is one of the last left-handed questions, which I will be happy to be passed through. I would say this is a good, solid 3-star angle. I think I'm going to try and ride it in as straight a line as possible later on in the day. Hopefully they're running straight, and the more you use your hand to turn and twist them, the more chance you have of injuring, but also of distracting them off of their line. So I'm going to ride the left side of this. There's a slight point in the ground line. I'm going to ride straight towards that point, this left-handed bush, land, and go in 3, heading towards the high side of the brush a little bit there. And I'm going to keep my whip in my left hand, give a little tap on the shoulder. If I've had trouble anywhere else, I may or may not come straight at this, track left, go around the trees, track right, and jump over the hedge. But I'm hoping to be able to go straight through. Here we have a nice roll top. I'm going to pick the orange flowers in the middle and head straight through. So middle to middle over these 2 cabins, they're quite wide, but they have a nice rolling edge. You do have to get out around the turn and line them up nice and straight, ride positively. The slight downhill will carry you a little bit, and then hug the ropes on the way up. And we have a water complex here, nice positive ride with the hedge in. I'm going to make sure I keep coming around the turn, use the turn to balance them up, and ride positively in. Should be a nice 3 to that skinny hedge, keeping a little bit left so that I have a nice straight line all the way through. Hopefully this will ride. So very close to home now. I'm going to jump the second hound in from the right, and it is off of a bit of a turn and a rise, so that should help me balance up without taking up too much time. Bench jump, a welcome sight. Second last from home, just got to make sure we're careful and quick. Nice last fence, very well decorated, brightly colored, should help give the horses a little bit of airtime. Just have to remember it does have a roof. By this time I'm sure the horses won't care. And then we're going to boogie on to the finish line, which isn't too far away. Hoping for 2